Higashi here, aka Gene. Welcome to GTA 5 Top 5 episodes to the Top 5 drifts on GTA 5 Racing. This right here, the bonus clip you saw, synchronized drifting with me and Picano, was not scripted. That was something that we just did randomly, but somehow, coincidentally, we just did it on the same corner, which looked absolutely awesome. Of course, you could take your time out and slow-mo it whenever you want during this footage on YouTube. As the feature there, you can slow-mo footage, and it does look absolutely awesome. But this particular bonus clip here, on the raining conditions, one of the tracks that I created ages ago, don't really play this anymore, but first lap on the corner, managed to hit that perfect apex drift while there's massive collisions back there on that corner. But the thing about this is that it was set to 3 laps under these conditions, and on the second lap, yet again approaching a similar corner, I managed to do this again and again. This guy oversteers, and I sort of kept my line through the inside, and approaching this once again. This one was pretty sick as well. You can see here, perfect 90 degrees onto the apex, off we go. Stuff like this is quite fun to do, especially during races when you hold your position, but when you're not blocking the lines as well. And you can carry a lot of speed if you time it right, but it's extremely difficult and risky because you can always, so 90% chance of going wrong and losing out all the speed. But most of the time, at certain points, you can carry a lot of speed and actually even take advantage of certain positions, especially when you approach a corner tight when there's a car on the outside. But this was one of my favorites. This is the 3rd lap, so 3 times in a row managed to perfect it. The car just revs up, and this is the speed I was talking about. You get insane speed on the exit of the corner. It's a nice fun thing to do. But starting off here with the 5th clip here of this episode. This is where Picano sort of does an awesome drift to hold his position, but that's not the clip, man. If you look very closely, what you saw behind him was me doing pretty much the exact same thing. So from my point of view, you're going to see right now, this looks 10 times better because what he does, I pretty much replicate, but it was unintentional. That's the beauty of this, and we both pretty much replicated this exact same drift there, holding each other's position without taking each other out. Now, if we look at it from both POVs, it just looks so good, man. Just from this, looking back at the footage from both POVs, just looks so sick. And remember, this is all real-time racing, actual racing on the competitive rule sets. So all obviously trying to fight for the battles, but when shit like this occurs, man, you just it's sort of unexpected. Sometimes you just do intentionally as well. Certain situations, for example, in this particular clip, this was all intentional to keep my position. So I lose 2 positions at the start. This is short Grand Prix. Picano tries to take the inside, but I managed to go wide and carry more speed. But then I left the inside door open. So now, obviously, I'm oversteered there. Getting a little bit of speed with my revs, but because I was tight angle to the apex, the only option I had there is to do that little drift. Now, if it was another scenario where I did not do the drift and just sort of let go of the throttle and just sort of controlled that through the thing, Picano would have easily overtaken because of the way I approached the corner. I was able to carry more speed just from that procedure of drifting rather than let go of the throttle and losing my position. Then, of course, taking this position on the chicane and then finishing it up, I do end up taking, I believe, Superman up front on this right-hander, which is a pretty difficult right-hander because it's quite a bit of a bump here, and then this line is quite difficult because if you get it wrong, you can completely screw up, and that's where you have to be ballsy and really control the car. And then, of course, oh sorry, that's not Superman, that's someone else. My bad. Drifting can come in handy in certain situations, but you have to be confident when you do it. But in 3rd footage here, you see this wasn't part of a proper race. This was a non-contact race. We do this time to time just for fun, for bants. And I got bored, so I ended up just sort of wanted to drive with one hand. So obviously no rule sets apply here. It's just whoever just goes for it, because this particular race is not intended for proper racing anyway. So as you can see, I've got one hand on my chin, just wanted to line this up, and I thought, is it possible to do this one-handed? And you know what, turns out I could do it, just squeezing through the alley there, and also giving that nice little cinematic view as well. You're probably thinking why I don't have a reaction right now when I actually put it off. Well, this was after a 14-hour stream, and I took this right from the stream. That's why the quality is not that great. And I don't know, man, something just went through my head. Like, it's just sort of a shock, I don't know if that was real or not, because I don't know how that was possible. I don't know how I combined it just from one hand using the cinematic with the circle button as well. So this was one of my favorite drifts, actually. It's 4 seconds long, this entire drift. It was part of the race, proper race, but because I got completely screwed at the start, I just started to mess about and just go for something like this and see if it works. This is the first time I'm giving it a go on this particular corner. It's quite an interesting left-hander. It's a high-speed corner, and it's got quite a few bumps. You have to really control the drift to get it right, and I managed to do it, and it was a great feeling that, and it was taken during the live stream as well. A few people went nuts, but this was by far one of the favorite of them all, actually, because the way what I did there, let's watch that back in slow-mo, right? I managed to squeeze through the tire stack and the wall with that gap and recover the position on the final lap on a proper racing environment. So that was sick. Hopefully you guys enjoyed something different. I don't know if this is something that you guys want to see more often. This is something, of course, we can do time to time. Most of these happen during the races. But also another thing I wanted to do is for any of you guys, of course, now obviously we've got share play on PS4 and you can also record on Xbox One as well. For those of you that race or just drive around and whatnot, make sure you guys send me your footage of any epic, awesome racing moments, anything cool, any drifts, any crashes, you know, any footage that you record that you can obviously now do so. Send it to me on email on the screen. And that way, you guys also will be featured in the top 5s that I do, and something to get you guys involved as well. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time. Check you soon out. Good night. Peace. Yeah.